There's this discussion now of a 30-day ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it. Putin has not said no, but has certainly said there are going to be major conditions and things he wants to discuss. We heard from Trump's envoy over the weekend that they're moving closer to some kinds of agreement. But I think what's really going to be on the table is what does Putin actually want and how willing is Trump to essentially give it to him in order to get to some kind of,
Right.
ceasefire, pause, truce, what have you.
Why should Putin agree with Trump? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm not sure that he will, and I think there's probably more of a gap between them than Trump
Right.
maybe wants to realize right now. I mean, right now there is again this idea of re-engagement with the U.S., of reopening diplomatic channels, of easing some of the tensions that have obviously been in place for the last 4 years, and there's a lot
Right.
of incentive for Russia to want that to happen.
Hey, Julie, we're 2 months, a little bit more than 2 months into the President Trump administration here, and it seems to be, from a foreign policy perspective, a little bit of a kind of a go it alone type of thing, kind of disengaging to various degrees from our allies. As you sit back and look at this, how do you frame it out?
Yeah, well, Paul, I would say here over in London, people definitely aren't sitting back. They're sitting up very rapt attention at how
Yep.
the U.S. is changing very quickly. There's a real worry right now, not only for the U.S., changing on some policy things, but really being, potentially an unreliable actor, an unreliable ally, and in some ways even adversarial in many spheres. And I think the world is watching very closely to see, is this just a
Yeah.
short-term run? Is this bluster, or is this a real change in how we do things?
What is the change, Professor Norman, of Trump foreign policy slash military policy, first term and second term? What's the distinction there?
Yeah, so I would say first term, Trump overall was more isolationist, and we heard that, language obviously in the campaign for the second term also. But with the second term, if anything, we've seen more of an interventionist foreign policy, not so much with military force, though I would say one reason that the attacks over the weekend stood out is it does indicate that the
Right.
administration can and will use military force, but really much more of an expansion, Panama,
Right.
Greenland, Gaza, these areas that were not really talked about as focus areas, but the U.S. obviously has interest there, and Trump is going to push for them.